to be childlike? Do you remember what it was like to dream and believe that things were possible? Did you stop along the way? Do you look every day with this wide-eyed wonder at what's happening and the possibilities that you've got today? Jesus was rebuking the disciples for getting onto them, for bringing the children. Jesus looks at the disciples. They were the ones that were closest to him. They're the ones that are doing life with Jesus. They're the ones traveling with him, being part of these teachings. They're the ones getting on to the parents. See, I used to look at things different before I became a parent. I used to see children differently. I used to hear children differently. Do you remember what it was like before you had kids? You would go to a place that had kids, like your friend or maybe your brother or sister-in-law. And you noticed that when you went to their house, they had this superpower. It's called being oblivious to reality. Because when you're hearing like these kids bouncing off the rafters and making all the sound in the world, and they're oblivious, like they're not seeing it. Like their kids are literally invisible. And I'm like, I didn't have kids. And it's like, man, I mean, like your kids are hanging from the rafters, but nobody else notices. And I'm like, man, what gives? What's up with them? I mean, can't they hear these kids? Kids are everywhere. But they have this ability, and now I've got it. Now I've got it a little bit. Of being able to just completely not pay attention to the chaos. And so these disciples, when they were there and they see these children running and climbing all over Jesus, they're getting onto the parents. They're rebuking the parents. Hey, look, keep your kids away, man. We've got serious business going on. You know what I think it was? Here's what I think it was. I think that as the serious business of ministry was going on, that the children ended up interrupting the serious business of ministry of listening to Jesus. And it might have been situations where it's like, hey, wait a minute. Jesus is just interrupted. That kid just interrupted Jesus. He was about to give me a prophetic word. And now this kid's climbing all over him. Jesus is going to forget to give it to me, man. Get the kids away. Send the kids out of here. I want my word. I want my encouragement. I came here for encouragement. I got to make and deal with it through the workplace. Come on, I want that word. And you got kids running all over the place. Are you kidding me? You think that could have been what it was like? But Jesus saw something different. And so did the parents. See, the parents wanted Jesus to touch them so they could bless them.
That's right.
See, as a parent, you've got eyes, you've got a vision, you've got a heart for who your kids are going to be, where they're going. And so you want to take them to Jesus. And Jesus said to the disciples, do not hinder them from coming to me. How often do we, as believers, hinder people from getting to Jesus? Do you think that we can hinder people from coming to Jesus? And Jesus said to his disciples, unless you come to me like one of these little children, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. Isn't that wild? See, children have something that we lose along the way. Here's one thing they don't have, is a giant Rolodex of every single wrong that the person next to you did to you. Mm-hmm. They don't have the Rolodex. They're not checking off every mistake. Okay, I'm just waiting for the next one. Check. We as followers of Jesus can be so offendable these days. Children are not offendable. Children are not offendable. They haven't been wrong. They haven't been stabbed in the back. They believe that all things are possible. They see the good in people. Offense is learned. And I'm not offended. They don't even pick up